It was my wedding day. Not my first wedding, but nonetheless a big deal. I had a fabulous white dress and we were in the limo, champagne flowing, en route to the venue. I felt that familiar gush and I knew my period had just came on. Damn it, this was a nightmare. I had to get the limo to stop, get tampons and try to negotiate insertion in a small porta potty with a huge dress. I cursed it and wished I didn't have them. But had I known this would be my last regular period, I would have felt very differently. I had gotten hot flushes for years and assumed it was perimenopause, nothing major that a daily Menopause tablet couldn't handle. Having done some publicity work with Menopause the musical, I'd seen the show multiple times and always had a giggle at the seemingly ridiculously over-dramatisation of four boomers trying to get to grips with the change of life. From 2016, I was laughing no more, as when the full effect of menopause hit, it robbed me of my health, both mental and physical, my ability to function productively, and indeed my life. Change of life, they say. For sure, I was changed into a person unrecognisable from who I used to be. It creeps up like a thief in the night to start with. Gradual changes in how you feel and think. You might begin to find you are tired and have less motivation, which 5 years on has progressed to the point I am exhausted a couple of hours into the day and walking up the stairs is an effort. I have gone from being a very motivated person to having zero motivation for anything except survival. And survival is getting through the day with an obstacle course of a myriad of unpleasant symptoms like brain fog, feeling like you have a constant hangover, headaches, dizziness, mood swings, depression, anxiety, digestive issues, sore breasts, etc. In fact, there are over 40 symptoms of menopause and I, like a lot, and I mean a lot of women, have every single one. The best way I can describe menopause is that it's like being in a deep dark pit that you are trying to get out of, and you make a tiny bit of progress towards light, but then you fall back down. This happens over and over to the point you just become hopeless and feel like just giving up and accept living in that dark hole. Many women, like my mother, did exist in that dark hole from her late 40s. I could not understand how she would always be unwell every single day, and honestly, I didn't have much empathy for her. As women, I do think we get the short end of the stick dealing with our monthlies and childbirth, but at least we kind of know what to expect. But with the menopause, no one tells you, no one warns you of how bad this can get. I took on loads of responsibilities in my early 40s, which if I had to have known what was ahead, I would have thought them through a lot more. It's on a par with other chronic illnesses, but unlike those, you can claim disability or get time off work for menopause. Less than a month after my wedding, I began to notice a decline in my health. Fatigue mainly, and I started to get swollen Bartholin's glands and abscesses in my genital area. I was put on antibiotic after antibiotic, so I put the tiredness down to that. After 3 months, I realised I hadn't had a period and momentarily considered pregnancy, but I hadn't had intercourse, so I couldn't have been. I had one hell of a job to convince the GP that I hadn't, as she maintained I was too young to be menopausal. It would have been about 6 months later. I remember it because it was Easter Sunday. I woke up with pains and aches in places I didn't even know existed. My neck was stiff and my back was in agony back to the GP. At this point, they decided to run some blood tests and it showed up that I had a deficiency in estrogen and progesterone, and they agreed I was in perimenopause. Ever since then, I have had pains and aches, some days worse than others, but never a pain-free day. In fact, I've forgotten what it's like not to have pain. HRT was not even mentioned to me at this point. I stayed like this for another 1.5 years. The marriage had ended, and to be honest, it had ended a couple of months after the wedding, but it was now official. I had zero sex drive. I never had much of one anyway, as I am asexual, but it disappeared completely. In late 2018, I tried an Ayurvedic herb called Google. It was meant to help with the recurring abscesses. And on Christmas Day, I got a very light period. This is over 2 years since my last. Google actually boosts estrogen production, so I attribute this as being the cause. After that light period, I perked up a bit and felt more normal, more motivated and less tired for about another year, but I still had plenty of hot flushes. Although menopause was unpleasant, it was pretty much what I had expected. In February 2020, though, it fully hit with a bang. I began to get dizzy spells along with the hot flushes, horrendous brain fog which caused disorientation and difficulty thinking clearly. It feels like a constant hangover. Many women experience a dramatic rise in appetite, but it can go either way, so for me it was a loss of appetite. But I think it was triggered by the fact that I am always full of wind and get stomach pains after I eat. It didn't stop me gaining loads of weight though. My breasts tripled in size and are constantly sore. My bladder is so sensitive I always feel like I need to pee. My skin is dry and flaky and I look like I've aged 20 years in the space of one. 1 minute I'm freezing cold, the next boiling hot, to the point I feel like I'm going to collapse. My vagina has shriveled away due to the atrophy. Headaches, nausea, pains, aches, stiffness, electric shock feelings, all of these things are caused by the hormonal changes of menopause. And that's just the physical. The mental and emotional issues are worse. Anxiety is a massive symptom experienced by the majority of women. Anxiety is hard to understand unless you've experienced it. It's a feeling of constantly being on edge, of impending doom, constantly feeling like something terrible is just about to happen. Your heart is beating fast, you feel sick, your breathing is affected, you're shaking, and you have this awful feeling of confusion, not knowing what to do to protect yourself. But you can't protect yourself because much of the time you don't even know what you were afraid of. You can't pinpoint the threat. It's hardly surprising that your mind is reacting like this when it feels like your entire body is malfunctioning. I actually can't find words to describe how absolutely horrendous it is to live like this 24/7. To wake up in a cold sweat shaking, to feel anxious about every little thing you do throughout the day. It's hard for others to understand, so you end up depressed and withdrawn. Emotionally, constantly feeling unwell, looking in the mirror and seeing the aging process, wishing with all your heart you could turn the clock back to a time where you felt anything other than despair takes its toll. You begin to think about death a lot more, and that it's not as far off as you would like it to be. You look back on your life and wish you'd done more when you had the motivation and health to do so. It's a time where many relationships break up, kids move out, and with that, a sense of being unable to start all over again. Or what's even the point in trying? It's easy to lose faith and hope in anything. You become so consumed in what is happening to you. The good thing is that for most women there is HRT. It can be a battle to get for some and can take time to get the balance right, but almost all women who go on HRT claim to get their lives back. But it's not available or deemed suitable for all women. There has been much debate and conflicting research on the side effects of HRT. Certain forms of it is said to increase the risk of cancer and therefore not given as standard to women with family histories. All forms of HRT tablets, gels, patches and pessaries carry a warning of blood clots, although there is evidence contrary to this, stating that it's only the tablet form that poses a problem. However, it is still taken into consideration for someone like me who is high risk for clots regarding all forms of HRT, which is confusing and scary. After 5 years, I eventually got the patches, but they didn't agree with me, so I've been told there's no point in trying the gels as they will have the same side effects. The pills were not an option in my situation. Back before HRT was as popular, there was Valium, also known as diazepam. It was dished out so frequently it got the name of Mummy's Little Helpers. Now it's only given rarely and short term due to its highly addictive nature. I have taken this and to be honest, it did take the edge off, but they won't prescribe it on a regular basis. While I don't think it should be the first line, I also think that as a last resort for no-hopers like me, addiction is better than absolutely no quality of life at all. I was told recently that I am post-menopause now, but I really hope not, as it sure doesn't feel that way. And if I indeed am, is this the quality of life I am to be left with? I'm a fighter and I'm still trying different therapies like acupuncture, hypnotherapy and herbal remedies. I'm fighting for my life and it's the hardest battle I've ever faced. I'm fighting to get back what menopause has taken from me. I'm frustrated, I'm angry. I want my hormones back. I want my period again. I want my youth back. But I feel it's a battle I can't win.